So Ed, you were saying stories have been around for a long, long time, haven't they?
Old as us, old as humans. There's a little theory that that's what makes us humans, is stories. Stories are incredibly powerful things. If you think of any great religion or any great political movement, they have a story at their heart. If you want somebody to do something for you, don't just tell them to do something. Inspire them to do something. Make them feel inspired by what you've got to say.
I'm always amazed by my two young kids at how they get so into stories. Noah's so into Star Wars, and he could tell you everything about every character, the goodies, the baddies, the mission. And if we could get consumers to pass on information so readily like he does in the playground at school, wouldn't that be amazing? That's the power of stories for me.
Aesop is the oldest storyteller there is. I mean, we've all heard of Aesop's fables, and what I love about Aesop was how he summarised the wisdom of each tale in terms of a moral. It's where we get the phrase, "and the moral is." And effectively that's what we do with brands. We find the story of the brand and we put a finger on what the moral of the story is. What's the point of the brand?
And what better to bring stories which humans have been doing for millennia together with brands?
In the modern world, even more relevant. I mean, with technology is changing around us all the time, but fundamentally we're still human. We're going to tell stories as much on Twitter as we are around the campfire.
Well, I believe that our story model has given us a true reason for an integrated agency. I think we're different to a lot of agencies because we come from brand first. I've always been frustrated about divides between disciplines. I've always thought that's mad, both at a creative level and a efficacy level for the brands that work within those spaces in a time when everything is connected more than ever, and it's so important to be joined up.
To that point, Martin, I think it's a method of working together. With the story, every discipline, every channel knows which bit of the story it's telling.
When I was a client, you had to manage lots of different agencies, lots of different ideas that came from different channels or disciplines. And I think the motivation for us in setting up this model was about finding a more effective way that actually enables all the different disciplines to work together to achieve a better creative result and a better financial result.
So, I mean, I've worked with a lot of brand models before. We've got brand onions and brand pyramids and compasses, arrows. But I think the problem with them is that typically you get these boxes and they don't relate to each other in a really cohesive manner because they're effectively made up constructs, whilst a story is something that is completely natural that we all relate to. There's a logic to a story. Then once you give a brand the shape of a story, then it becomes naturally more compelling, naturally more engaging, and a lot easier to understand. After all, we all get stories. Clients come to us when they're asking some pretty fundamental questions. Questions like, who are we and where do we want to go, and what's the most creative way we can get to that new destination?
Well, the Glenlivet is a great example of how brand storytelling can really get to the heart of a brand.
Yeah, that's right. We've created a groundbreaking experiential program, an augmented reality app, a beautiful brand film, and a website. More recently, we've done some packaging and the design of the visitor centre. Moretti is another great example of how our story has really richened that brand in a lot of the executional stuff we've done, from the design to the activation to the above the line, with a beautiful thread working through the lot that really engaged with consumers and has proved success with the growth of that brand in the UK.
Yep, they're all chapters in a story, flowing seamlessly together so clients get effective, joined-up marketing. And consumers get a consistent and engaging experience, no matter where they come in contact with the brand. That's Aesop in a nutshell. We create genuinely integrated marketing.